Welcome, everyone. We're going to wait a couple seconds to allow attendees to join the webinar. Okay, hello. My name is Anna, and it's my pleasure as the Assistant Director of Constituent Relations to welcome you all to this 49er industry chat. Before we start, we just want to remind you that this session is being recorded and it will be available on demand at our website, csulb.edu/alumni. Once it's posted, feel free to share with friends, fellow alumni, or someone you know who may benefit from this chat. We also encourage you to utilize the Q&A box to submit any questions you may have for our guest speaker. My moderator is Rosalinda, who's my colleague, and she'll help moderate the chat during this webinar and let me know if any questions pop up. And now I would like to introduce our alumni for this industry chat, Kenneth Stavert. Welcome. I'll start off by reading your bio before we jump in. So Kenneth graduated from CSULB in 2007 with a Bachelor of Music in Performance and has since built a distinguished international career as an operatic baritone. Praised as the real thing, a classic Verdi baritone with resonance, flexibility, and vigor. He is known for his commanding stage presence and a sense of theatricality that brings bold, dynamic life to every character he portrays. Throughout the US, Europe, and Asia, Kenneth has become a sought-after artist in both operatic and concert repertoire. In the 24-25 season, Kenneth makes company debuts with Indianapolis Opera as Riff in West Side Story and with Union Avenue Opera, while also returning to Vero Beach Opera as Silvio in Pagliacci and to the Southern Illinois Music Festival as Belcore in Lazieri d'Amore. His recent seasons have featured standout performances as Sonora in La Fanciulla del West, Conte di Luna in Il Trovatore, and Don Carlo and Ernani. Additional career highlights include leading and featured roles with companies such as Dayton Opera, Santa Fe Opera, Sarasota Opera, and more, where he has earned acclaim for his versatility in works ranging from Verdi to Sondheim. Kenneth, thank you so much for being here today and welcome. Please say hello and introduce yourself to anything I may have missed because you did have a very large background.
No, that was great. It's a pleasure to be here.
Welcome. Thank you so much. Okay, so again, just as a reminder to those attending, our moderator, Rosalinda, will be checking the chat for any questions that come in. So just to jump in, my first question to start off would be, start off with your background and tell me a little bit about your experiences and what led you to attend Cal State Long Beach.
So the way I got to Long Beach was I'd grown up doing a lot of musical theater and stuff. Wanted to take voice lessons as a child. My mom said, "Well, if you're gonna study, voice, you're gonna study classically because that's the only way to learn." She really didn't know that, but that was her opinion, and it worked out great. I took some lessons and was interested in going to school. So I had originally planned to go to Cal State Fullerton, and there
Oh,
was a
okay.
teacher that I was going to study with there. And in March of right before I was supposed to start, he left the university, and I went, "Oh no, what am I doing?" Uh, so made some phone calls, was able to transfer my application to Long Beach, and thank goodness, it was the greatest thing that could have happened to me. Because that's where I should have applied to begin with, and that's where
Yes,
I should have planned on
exactly.
going. Uh, but yeah, ended up at Long Beach and didn't know that I was necessarily going to be doing opera, but you show
Mhm.
up, the first week and they're like, well, opera auditions are on Thursday. And I was like, oh, I guess that's what you do. Uh, Went to that, got cast as a lead role my freshman year,
Wow,
and have been doing it ever since and never looked back.
amazing. And what was your student experience like? So were you in any clubs or was there a professor that helped you grow in your journey while you were a student?
Um, Not really any clubs. I mean, basically, the opera department kind of becomes its own club.
Hmm.
There were, I want to say, 10 to 12 of us at the time that were all basically opera majors. And you spend a lot of time with them, especially when you're rehearsing for a show, you're rehearsing every day for several hours. So you get to know each other very well. As far as professors that have had an impact on my life, definitely Dr. Jonathan Talberg. He The first day of school, you learn very quickly from him what professionalism is. In choir, you are not late. You are not 1 minute late. If you are 1 minute late, the number of times he would stop a rehearsal, stare at the person as they walked in, watch them get to their spot, and then he'd be like, okay, now he had this frazzled look,
Yeah.
but it taught you so quickly. And he demonstrated the professionalism that's expected in this industry. We have rehearsals all the time, and you cannot be 1 minute late. You have to be 10 to 15 minutes early to be on time. And that mixed with all of the musicality, but like he demonstrated how to react in a professional environment so early that I never had to like have difficulty with that as like I was getting into the industry on a professional level. I was prepared. I was ready.
Oh, yeah. It's the saying goes, if you're earlier, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late.
Yep.
Wonderful. Okay. And so you kind of touched upon this a little, but what made you want to pursue a career in opera? It sounds like you kind of fell into it, but was your journey also intentional and kind of more, or did you grow into it along the way?
Yeah. I mean, it was like I very much stumbled into it. I didn't really comprehend what it was going to be. Actually, and even then, even after graduating, I still didn't fully get it until I actually started in it. So after I left Long Beach, I went to the University of Cincinnati's College Conservatory of Music, did a master's degree there. And after that, I started doing what they call young artist programs or resident artist programs. And that's where you really actually learn what the business is like. So it's hard to comprehend that when you're in academia. And as you finally get into it, it suddenly starts to click and make sense. But yeah, very much didn't really have a full comprehension of what the career was going to look like, but knew I loved singing, learned to love opera, and decided that that was what I was going to do.
Wonderful. So that kind of leads to the next question, which is like, did you learn any hard skills while attending Cal State Long Beach that you may remember, or is there something that you wish you would have learned while you were a student here and knowing what you know now?
I learned very quickly my freshman year that you need to prepare. You have to prepare yourself when you're learning a role, but you have to work hard and you have to be. It is always best if you are the most prepared person in the room. There's always going to be somebody that can give you advice or feedback or comments or critiques, but you never want to be the least prepared person in the room. And I was a freshman. I was not the most prepared person my freshman year. And I made that mistake once and never let it happen again. And that has held me through in my professional career as well. It is something that people comment on and they give you positive feedback for, that they know that they can rely on you from the very beginning. If other people are not prepared and are not doing their jobs correctly, they know that they can always trust on me to be there and be prepared and ready to work.
Right. And now with that type of mentality, what would you say is like a typical day in this type of position, or what does your typical day kind of look like?
So there's two versions. There's when I'm in production and when I'm out of production. When I'm in production, it basically is there's rehearsals are broken up for the most part into three blocks. Typically, on average, it's either 10 to 1, 2 to 5, 7 to 10. And we'll do two of those blocks in a day. In those rehearsals, you might be coaching, you might be staging, you might have time where you're sitting around in the rehearsal room waiting to do something, hopefully not waiting for too long. But yeah, there's a lot of that. You're working music, you're working with the conductor, you're working with the directors. Sometimes you're working with the choreographers if there's dancing involved in that show. But there's stagings as the rehearsal period goes on. Then you get into mostly just nighttime rehearsals, and then you're in the theater and on stage with the full costumes, makeup, lights, everything. And that's how we do it. When you're out of production, so before I've shown up, I'm expected to come prepared, memorized on day one.
Hmm.
Basically, theoretically, I could almost do the show right away. So it's going through my score, making sure I not only know my notes and my words, but what am I saying? My Italian is conversationally is okay. My French is, and my German is fine. But you have to know with that. So let's say French is my weakest language. Well, I still have to know every word that I'm saying it, and I have to be able to say it in a way that sounds like I'm a native French speaker.
Right, the
Which,
phonetics.
yeah, and it's understanding where the word stresses are inside
Hmm.
of a sentence, that type of thing. So making it sound very idiomatic, very much
A lot of
like
research.
yeah. So it's practice on that. So it's getting up, spending time in your score, spending time at the piano, making sure you're pounding in the notes, listening to recordings to get style and
Hmm.
traditions that might be missed. There are a lot of things that are sometimes not written on the page, but everybody knows you have to do this. And you have to do this because somebody did it 150 years ago and that
Oh,
became the
wow.
tradition. And now you have to do it.
Yeah. Wow. And it looks like we also got a question in the chat. How do you balance artistic goals with financial realities early on in a career? Did you have to do any survival jobs? And if so, how long did you do that?
So I waited tables until I think it was 2010 was the last time I waited tables. And that was when I basically was able to transition to working mostly full time. It has helped that my wife also has a job and works. That takes a lot of the pressure off of me.
Mm-hmm.
She's got a great job as well. Another Long Beach alumni.
Nice.
Yeah, so she's a doctor of microbiology, and that has, like I said, that has taken a lot of the pressure off. That
Mm-hmm.
said, as COVID was a harsh reality for a lot of us when work dried up
Right.
and things getting back was not fast. So almost everybody in the industry now has some sort of side hustle of something that they do. Some people teach voice lessons, whether it's
Hmm.
online or in person. Um, a lot of people do some sort of physical coaching gym. I coach CrossFit when I'm home. And the other thing that I do is I take my camera with me and I do professional photography, family portraits, and headshots.
Oh,
I picked that
nice.
up in the COVID era just because it was something I liked and was passionate about, and I can do on the road. And singers are always in need of new headshots. And there used to be a stigma about whether or not you had a side hustle or not. COVID basically wiped that away, and now it
Oh,
is the
wow, really?
norm. Yeah, which is good because it shouldn't be something that is frowned upon or discouraged.
Right.
If you are making extra money, however you make it, it's a great way to do it.
Yeah, and taking those headshots of other artists, what a great idea.
Yep.
Just take it with you. Okay. And so I guess with that, with all the traveling, one question was, how do you keep your instrument in shape with it? And do you have a sort of practice routine that you do?
I very much do. So it's less about the instrument on the travel aspect of it. It's when you get there, it's making sure you're able to sleep well and maintain your normal routine. So things that I do, if I'm flying or especially if I'm driving, I bring a mini kitchen with me. So I've got a frying pan and a chef's knife that I bring with me everywhere because I have been to enough places where you don't have adequate cooking supplies.
Oh, okay.
And it is having a knife to cut. A lot of times, what happens in the industry, the companies will put you up in homestays as compared to putting you up in a hotel.
Oh,
It's a
okay.
way for them to save money
Hmm.
and get donor engagement as well. And some of these houses that you stay in are absolute mansions. There's one place in Florida that I had my own bedroom with my own living room, my own balcony, my own bathroom. They had four pools. They
Oh my
had, I mean,
gosh.
on a lake with a boat and everything. So, I mean, they're incredible. But some of these people, as much as they have these amazing houses, they don't have normal cookware because maybe they don't cook.
Yeah, they don't cook for
So
themselves.
it's the little things like being
Wow.
able to cook and eat what you are used to eating and not have to eat fast
Mm-hmm.
food or eat at a restaurant every night. It's those little things that have made a big difference for me.
Oh, wow, yeah. You just put that in your carry-on bag, probably.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you do have to check the knives, unfortunately, but
Yes, yeah. Nice. Okay. And so, what are some of the best ways to find opportunities for folks that are just trying to start out in this industry? Are there networking events? Are there internships? What would you recommend for those who are looking to do a career in this field?
so when I started, it was kind of like a secret that you had to find out that you had to use this website called Yap Tracker, YAPTRACKER.com. It's kind of become commonplace now. Most people know about it. Every
Okay.
time I go and I speak with young artists, they're like, "Oh yeah, of course we have Yap Tracker." I'm like, "Well, that wasn't the standard when I was young."
Yeah.
But it's a website that lists opportunities that you can then apply for, typically straight through that website, and basically get that word of mouth, talking with teachers. If you're in the LA area, there's Music Academy of the West is a great one. If you're just starting out, if you can get into there and do that program, it's fantastic. But yeah, most of the time, the process is you do a summer program that you spend anywhere from 3 to 12 weeks during the summer going through. You work with professional directors, professional musicians and coaches and conductors. You
Hmm.
get extra training, and as you do those, you build your resume. You get extra roles. You sing with professional orchestras. You get better and better as yourself, and then hopefully, if you're progressing in a good way, theoretically, then companies will then hire you back as a principal
Right.
artist instead of saying, well, we'd like to hire as a young artist. You make that transition into a full principal and hopefully start working and making real money.
Oh, interesting. Okay. And can you kind of go into some details of what's been the most challenging part of your job? You kind of highlighted it with COVID. It really had an impact on the industry, but maybe even since post-COVID or early on in your career. And what's been some of the most rewarding parts of it?
I'd say the most challenging thing in general is it is time away from home.
Mm.
And that's not easy. That's difficult for a lot of people to manage. Last year alone, I was gone, well, from April until end of November.
Oh,
I would be
wow.
gone for 3 weeks and I'd be home for maybe 5 to 7 days. And then I'd be gone for
Hmm.
another 3 weeks, home for another 5 to 7. That adds up. And that time away from home it gets exhausting emotionally.
Yeah.
If you have a family, that makes it complicated as well. You have to have a good support network for that, knowing that you're going to be leaving your family behind. Are they going to be okay with you being on the road? Uh, it's challenging. That's definitely the most difficult part is finding a way to process and handle that. But the rewarding parts of that is there's something satisfying about finishing a production, knowing you did great work, and you get to that curtain call and you get to hear the applause and the bow. And it's an ego boost to some extent,
Hmm.
but it's very satisfying to know that you did good work and that people appreciated it.
Wonderful. And so, kind of also leading into that, is there an aspect of singing professionally that you wish people knew more about?
It's a good question. Uh, I would say, in general, I wish more people knew about opera itself as an art form. It's easy to look at how, I mean, you think of there's the sad clown on the stage that everyone sees, and the
Hmm.
crying. Um, but there's also the flip side of that is there's new works that are being done. I mean, it's not really a new work anymore at this point. But it was, I think, in 1998 or 99. There was a new production that was Dead Men Walking, written.
Mm.
It was based off of the book by Sister Helen, which was then turned into the movie. And the production itself has changed my life, in my opinion, about topics on the death penalty and whatnot. Um, there are productions that can move you. There's a new one that's about The Shining, based off the book,
Oh,
and
wow.
they're great productions, and it's an art form that I think is still growing, still living, and as much as it's easy to think of the old classic, like I said, the big gowns and everything,
Hmm.
it's still a living art form that is exciting. And if you've never been and seen one, you definitely should, because you'll be surprised how much it can impact you.
Oh, you're inspiring me to go watch one. Maybe not The Shining, but a different one. And we just got another question in the chat. So, what would you say separates singers who make it from those with equal talent who don't?
I mean, how much can you stick it out? Because there's going to be times
Mm,
that you want to quit, and the ones that tend to make it are the ones that just stuck around and kept trying. You're going to get a lot of rejection. There's a lot of people opinions. For everything you do, there's someone that loves it, there's someone that hates it.
hmm.
And people have no problems telling you what they feel about it. And it's the people that just keep going and don't quit that are the ones that end up having careers. There's a lot of careers that start out really strong and people get notoriety very quickly. And then 3 or 4 years later, they're doing nothing. And for whatever reason, it could
Right.
be that their popularity faded or they showed up unprepared to a couple gigs and that word got around. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but in general, as long as if you have the talent and you have the preparation and the skills and the ability to make it on the road, even when you're missing home, you just got to keep going, and that's the difference. It's just some of us didn't quit.
Yeah, that point of professionalism, yeah, can make it a big impact in the roles you can get for sure. So
Hmm.
yes, Kelsey Long Beach alumni have grit and tenacity. So we'll go far. And so some other questions are, is it important to have a mentorship in this type of industry? Do you have any mentors, or did you have any mentors, and do you have any mentees now? Is that something that you
it
think could be beneficial in this industry?
it used to be. At this point, the industry has changed so much that there
Mhm.
isn't one clear path. So somebody that made it in this career 15, 20 years ago is going to have a very different path than somebody that's
Mm-hmm.
that's doing it today. The game has changed. Information and technology has switched a lot of that too. It used to be you had to have in-person auditions for everything. Now, a lot of times you'll get hired based off of a video production that they have on YouTube.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's changed as far as the industry has changed so much that it's not the same. I still have people that I look to and that I respect and trust
Hmm.
that as far as career progressions, like, is this role, how did you do it in this repertoire to get to where you're at? Uh, but it's not like anyone's like, let me take you under my wing and
Right.
it's not really, unfortunately, it's not really a thing. But at the same time, it's not really a thing because it's not necessarily beneficial and helpful.
Mm, right. But still important to network, as you
Yep.
mentioned
Oh,
previously.
100%. I mean, networking, the greatest thing you can do, especially now, uh, be a good colleague and a good friend to everyone around you, because you
Mm,
never know. The person that's singing next to you today might be the one that's running the company that's hiring you tomorrow.
yes. Yeah, very good point. And it looks like we just got another question in the chat. How long did it take you before you felt like you were making it as a working singer?
Uh, let's see. I was 24, I think, when I graduated from my master's. And I would say I finally was feeling like things were going probably about when I was 30. So it took some time. There's the transition from the young artist world to
Hmm.
the professional principal world. Uh, it happens gradually for a lot of us, and it's a big jump when it does happen, and it's great. But it was, yeah, I'd say it was probably about when I was 30. So probably 6 years after I really was doing that full time.
Okay. Yeah, it's all about the determination, sticking through it, as you mentioned
Hmm.
before. that make it or break it. Okay, and so do you have any advice for the 49ers that are interested in making a career in this industry?
I would definitely say find someone that you can trust to give you feedback. That is not necessarily a voice teacher or coach, but it can be. But it needs to be somebody that's invested in you and not having you basically come back to them just to take lessons or coachings or whatnot. That being said, those people can be the ones that are invested in you. But you need to find someone you can trust when they give you feedback and advice, that you know that it's coming from a place that is only intended to benefit you, as well as being good advice.
Hmm.
And that's kind of the like, you got to find that magic person. But when you do, that person, they'll tell you when you're doing something wrong, and
Hmm.
they'll tell you when what you're doing is right. And it not just telling you things to inflate your ego.
Right,
Uh, their positive is actual affirmation that what you're doing is right.
right. Wonderful. Okay. And just a fun question, is there a role or maybe a couple roles that are dream parts for you? Or are there some that you're already preparing for?
I've gotten to do one of my dream roles. That's Scarpio in Tosca. He's a bad guy. He is the basic definition of pure evil. Um, and I don't think that I am a bad guy. I mean, I don't think most of us think we're bad guys, but I'd like to think of myself as like a nice guy.
Uh-huh.
And if there's something fun about stepping into that character in the world of make believe, and he has some of the
Hmm.
greatest music in all of like the baritone repertoire. He ends the act one. He sings this masterful piece, the Te Deum, and it's him just singing, and the chorus is all on stage behind him. But he walks straight down stage, and he finishes with a big sign of the cross because he's a very religious guy, ironically. Um, and it's one of the greatest roles in all of opera. And so I checked that one off a few years ago. The next one's hopefully going to be Rigoletto, in Rigoletto. Um, and those are the two. Beyond that, after I do Rigoletto, we'll see. It's hopefully coming. Cross my fingers.
Oh, well, we wish you the best of luck. And so do you think playing a more of a evil role is more exciting?
It's it's different. Comedic roles are hard. They take a lot of energy.
Mm,
Um, the lovers are mushy and they're fun,
hmm.
but there's something about being the bad guy. And it's not like, well, maybe he's a little bad. He's bad. So just being able to commit into that and then be able to, curtain comes down and you're suddenly not the bad guy again.
Yeah, yeah, back to
It's,
yourself.
yeah, there's something very rewarding about it when people, especially people who know you, when they go, wow, that was terrifying. And I couldn't have imagined you doing that, but I was terrified. And I'm like, we did it.
Yes, you nailed it. Amazing. That's so funny.
Mhm.
And then my last question. So if you had the chance to relive attending Cal State Long Beach, is there anything you would do differently knowing what you know now?
Yes, I would have definitely spent more time in like the music lab listening to scores. Uh, I would have tried to have seen more I mean, like more local productions while I was
Mm,
there.
hmm.
Um, but I would have listened more, and I probably would have attempted to pay better attention in my theory classes because the newer compositions that we have to do a lot of times they are incredibly complicated, uh, written by a lot of the composers and uh, that have loved this that's 20th or 21st century style uh, of composition. It's harder music. It's very satisfying when you get it, but if it was more second nature,
Hmm.
it would be easier to learn, and I'd have to put in less work now. Um, but that would be the one thing. Also, trying to pair up and build relationships with composers while you're in school. I'm fortunate that I've been able to do this post school,
Hmm.
um, but it's so important. they're the ones that are writing the music that we're going to be performing in the future. And making good friendships with them and helping them grow as composers and helping yourself grow as an artist is so important.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for sharing all that information. Let's see, I don't know if we have any more questions in the chat. Well, thank you, Kenneth, for joining us today. Once again, those attending can visit the alumni website in the weeks ahead, and that's where we'll have our recording for this industry chat posted, and it'll be live for you guys to share forever. And Kenneth, break a leg, I believe is what is the term in your show business for the future roles you receive. So thank you again, and go Beach.
Go Beach. Take care, you guys.